instinctive exploratory
The noble
force.
savage, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, against the noble savage, right. So it's a big deal, no. So, but then now, once your child has got that, you can leave them be. Because they can explore like mad.
Yeah, that's
first of all, you can stop them by saying no, and so that's really helpful, because if they're going to do something dangerous, a word will do it. But second, kids are really smart, and what I learned with my kids was, once you taught them that there were 5 things in the house they couldn't do, then they generalized from that, and they figured out the pattern of the things they couldn't do, and then they wouldn't do them. And then you could leave them alone. They could be autonomous. And then parents would come over who didn't teach their kids no. And they would follow their 2-year-old around like totalitarians 100% of the time, because they couldn't trust them to have any autonomy at all.
Yep.
So the consequence of that absolute lack of discipline is the necessity for constant supervision.
And this is, it's also one of the reasons why I have so much trouble with the way that you speak of the genderless parenting aspect. It's one of the reasons I have so much trouble with all of this. This idea that that everything is biologically pre-written and biologically determined, and that how you raise your children has no impact on how their future life goes, is such asinine bullshit. I mean, sorry to put it that way, but it just is. I have 2 kids under 5. It is absolute nonsense. So I told a story the other day on the radio, or on my show, on the podcast, about my son. So my son is 2.5 years old, and he is just a delightful human being, which means that if you were an adult, he'd be the worst person ever, right? Because 2-year-olds are savages. This is what they are. Anybody who tells you that children are naturally good is totally full of it. Children are naturally innocent. Children are naturally not good. Children are naturally selfish and mean and brutal to each other. And then they're joyous, and then they're full of joy, right? This is what they are. And so my son, he has an older sister, and his older sister loves sparkly things. It's just her thing. She's a girl, right? And she's very girly. And so she has all of these sparkly shoes lying around. And so my son decided that he wanted to go and put on his sister's sparkly shoes. And I went to him and I said, no, those are girl shoes. I said, no, those are girl shoes. We don't wear those. And he said, and he started to fuss. He said, no. He said, I won't say her name. I want her shoes. I want her shoes. And I said, those are girl things. And then I took him to the Western Outfitters over here in Van Nuys. Yeah. And I got him a pair of cowboy boots. And he will not take off his cowboy boots. Now, the way the left would see that is me cruelly crushing his spirit. Perhaps he just wants to be a girl. Perhaps he wants to be raised in an effeminate manner. Yeah, except that by me giving him the choice, by going and getting him cowboy boots and then saying, here's some cowboy boots, and that's more gender appropriate, it turns out that that's what he likes. And you know what? Even if he didn't like that, he's 2.5 years old. I get to decide for him.
The amount of hate that I'm going to get just for sitting here listening to you tell that story of how you parent. I didn't push back on Shapiro, who didn't want his son to wear sparkly shoes, Ruben.
He's not an adult. When he's 17, if he makes an affirmative case why he should wear sparkly shoes, go for it. Yeah. When he's 2.5, I'm the guy who gets to instill the system that I think will lead to his greatest happiness. I am the totalitarian in my own house. I am the king of my own house, and I get to determine whether I think my child will live a happier life struggling with the desire to wear sparkly shoes at age 25, or whether it might be better for him to be brought up in a situation where it's easier to choose in line with gender stereotyping that, by the way, is reflected over every human culture. The idea that gender stereotyping is unique to the West is absolute nonsense. There are differentiations between how we treat men and how we treat women in every culture in the history of humanity.
Yeah, well, that again is why the Sweden thing was so interesting to me, because we found out basically, as you laid out, and feel free to clean this up, was that they've done egalitarianism right. Men and women have been equal for quite some time, and yet still what has happened there is that more men are engineers and more women are nurses.
Yeah, and that the men and women are more different.
They're still different.
Right, yeah,
and,
more different.
More, exactly, that's right.
And yet the social justice warriors, or whatever this thing is, they won't let them have the win.